Hello and welcome all of you. This is Mudit. I lead the Google Maps business for India for Searce. And we also have Gaurav from Google. He's the India lead for Maps Enterprise Sales from Google. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes for more people to join in and start with the presentation at about 3:03. So stay tuned. Be here with us. If you have any specific questions, feel free to just write them in the comment sections, or you can also ask a question at the link that you see on the top of the presentation. So just give us a couple of minutes. Yeah, thank you. Hello, all of you. So we are starting our webinar right now. So I would hand it down to Gaurav to speak to you about Google Maps platform and introduce us in the meanwhile. So hi, Gaurav.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the quick introduction, Mudit. So for everyone's benefit, my name is Gaurav. I lead the India Maps Enterprise Sales for Google Maps, and I'm very happy and excited to be here for this session. We'll roughly be spending about an hour together, and here is how we've planned the agenda. We would do a quick round of introductions. We would love to know from you what is your expectation from this session to begin with. And then I'll walk you through our Google Maps platform, understanding in detail, walk you through some use cases and how maps could actually redefine the way uh, logistics and delivery businesses have been consuming. And then we will take a pause. We will take up questions. So I would request all of you to please note down the questions with yourself or in the link or the form that Mudit has shared. So at roughly 3:30, we'll pause. We'll take questions. And then I do have with me our premier partner company, Searce. They are our technology partners who work in the field of logistics and delivery. And Mudit and team will then walk you through some of the amazing and cool work that they have done in the area of maps for some of you and other companies in the same domain. Mudit has also put together some screenshots, some demos. So would be great to sort of walk you through that. And then we'll again take a pause towards the end and we'll have 5 minutes or so towards the Q&A again at the end. So that's sort of roughly the agenda we have. So for those of you who've been able to dial in, can we just quickly get some feedback on what is it that you're expecting from the session today? Just maybe a few inputs. I'm not sure if I can hear you guys well. Okay, so or I don't see any feedback or questions yet. So why don't we get started? Um, so we are talking about a product which most of us are quite familiar with, and this is the amazing Google Maps, which most of us have been using every day for last many years. It all started way back in 2005, uh, and it's been an amazing journey for the last 13 14 years or so, and we've reached a point where we have more than 1 billion users who've been using this product every passing day. um, so where we stand right now, we realize that more than 90% of the data which exists right now has been created in the last 2 years, and has a location component associated with it, or will have a location component associated with in future. I mean, to give you some stats, uh, there are roughly 20 billion connected devices already, and by 2025, this number would grow to about 75 billion. So, to give you a sense, this is about 6 connected devices per person. So, I'll give you a moment to digest that information. Imagine the amount of data which these devices would be producing, and imagine the role and importance that location and location intelligence will start playing, and how crucial it will become for every industry, no matter which business you are into. Next slide, please. So fundamentally, there are three, at a very high level, there are three big things that you can expect to achieve using Google Maps. And if you were to think of your own roles, it is likely to fall in these three buckets. So I'm sure one of all of you are working either towards improving your end customer experience, or you're looking at improving and optimizing the way your operations run in your organization, eventually leading to efficiency gains and cost savings, or you are in a role where you are either taking strategic decisions for your organization, or you are in a team or a role where you're facilitating that, which could eventually lead to market expansions or bringing in more revenue. So if you are one of these three teams or roles, then you should definitely be interested in what Google Maps can possibly do for you. So stay tuned as we speak more. Next slide, please. Just bear with us. There might be a few seconds lag. So Google Maps platform is what is used to deliver these amazing results. And why do you think Google Maps platform, why do we think is the right platform of choice for you? There are a couple of reasons why. And in the next few slides, I'll just walk you through them one by one. Next slide, please, Mudit. So the first and foremost being, we take a lot of pride in sharing that Google Maps has the most accurate real-time data which is available on any other alternate platform. To give you a sense, we get about 25 million daily updates, and imagine sort of 1 billion users connected daily, and look at the number of updates. So it clearly gives confidence to our clients and customers on why this is a good platform to consider. Next slide, please, Mudit. The other reason is that the data which Maps platform offers is not just accurate and real time, it is also very rich. Um, Once again, to give you some stats and numbers, we have roughly 60 million folks who are known as local guides across the world, who would add about 20 million contributions per day. What do I mean by contribution? I mean things like reviews, star ratings, photos, etc. And that's what keeps the content rich, lively, relevant for use for everyone. Um, Next slide, please. Another very important reason for you to consider Maps platform is that this is a platform of choice. It is definitely the most used location platform across the world. Something which your end customers are likely already familiar with, are comfortable with, And that's something which is important for you to consider when you launch a product or when you think of a location platform. Next slide, please. All of us work in organizations where our customers and businesses are expanding. It is no more a business which is very hyper local. So we look at either interacting with customers or suppliers or companies who are multi-geo, and that's why Google Maps platforms comes in very handy. We pretty much cover the entire world. We've mapped out the entire network of roads. All the relevant points of interest are available for consumption, and that's another reason why you should be looking at Google Maps platform. So in summary, with the next slide, please. So we are talking about a platform which has rich, accurate data with 25 million updates every day. We are talking about a platform which is being used by 1 billion active users. We're talking about a platform which is fairly global. 99% of the world is already covered, and it is a platform which your customers love. And hence, we believe it should be a platform of choice for you. And what better proof can we speak of than speak of some of the clients who've been using our platform? Some of the logos are quite familiar. While we do take a lot of pride in sort of sharing that some of the large Fortune 500 companies are our clients globally and not just in India, but we also actually are very closely integrated and work with startups and SMB spaces as well. So if some of you are from one of those organizations, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to work closely with you. And the Maps platform is relevant for all companies of all scales and sizes. Next slide, please. So now I'll basically try to help you understand how the platform is structured, what the product is all about. So when we've, over a period of time, tried to simplify our product so that it is easy to understand and consume. So in your mind, when you think about Google Maps enterprise license, you should think about 3 types of products or options. So you are either looking at a Google Maps, which basically lets you explore the world as is, or you're looking at moving product or people from point A to point B, or you're looking at exploring things in and around you. Could be a nearby petrol pump or an ATM station or a restaurant or a tourist attraction. So it is likely that your use case is going to fall under one of these three broad product areas. Next slide, please. And each of these product areas would have something which is known as Google Maps APIs. So for example, go to the next slide, please. So Google Maps, for example, would have APIs like JavaScript API or Static Map API or an Embed API. Street View imagery, unfortunately, is not available in India per government guidelines. Routes product would have a direction API or a distance API, which basically tells you point A to a point B, how much time, what route to take, etc. A Places API helps you look at the time zone, helps you geocode addresses, so on and so forth. So once again, very useful, very powerful APIs. We'll go into more detail in the subsequent slide. Next slide, please, Mudit. So we'll now touch upon, from our perspective, what are some of the relevant use cases we are seeing in your industry, logistics, delivery, routing, and where Google Maps has played a critical role or can potentially play a critical role. So the next few slides will focus on that. With the next slide, please. So what we are seeing globally, not just in India, is that e-commerce, of course, is growing at a phenomenal pace. And what it means is the consumers, if they want to purchase online, they would expect the same day delivery, leading to higher last mile delivery spend. Naturally, IoT automation is expected to become the backbone of the transportation and logistics space. Imagine the amount of data which is being produced by these connected technologies and connected companies. No surprise that logistic companies are actually tuning into artificial intelligence and various other computing techniques to explore this data, to interpret this data, and which is why the spatial and locational intelligence is becoming very, very relevant. So, to get a little more real and to bring home the point, I would just give you a few more examples. With the next slide, please. So, when you think of your business and very pertinent problems that you would be facing, right? So, think if you are a delivery company, right? So, most of the failed deliveries which we have seen globally happen because of inaccurate addresses, right? Most of the people end up dropping their purchase midway because they were not able to fill the entire form. The checkout process was very long and intense, and hence Google Maps comes in very handy, and we'll talk through the APIs which sort of will help you there. If you're a company who's looking at uh, a logistic or a delivery use case and you have multiple deliveries on a route from A to B, there's something which is known as you can add waypoints between the two start and end locations, and that helps you optimize for time or distance or any other business priority that you may have. You I mean, we all know how the data situation is in India, and I mean, of course, if there is a GPS data being thrown on a lat long data on a road, it is likely that the points may fall on the left or the right hand side of the actual route being taken, leading to inaccuracies. Once again, there is an API called Snap to Road API, which basically pulls all these data points on the center of the road and helps sort of give more accuracy. In the kind of business that logistic and delivery companies are in, I think speed and SLAs are of paramount importance, right? So, be it pizza delivery or be it an e-commerce, Amazon delivery, or even if you are a large logistic company, um, SLAs do play a critical role, right? And which is where having the right direction, having the right time, having the right ETA becomes very critical, and hence Google Maps sort of can come in very handy. So that's a very short sort of summary of to bring home the examples of where you can connect and relate. Um, in the next few slides, I'll walk you through some more screenshots and help you understand this better. Next slide, please. So if you remember, we spoke of three big things which Google Maps platform can help you accomplish. It can either help you improve your customer experience, or it can help you optimize for costs, or it can help you take strategic decisions. So let's look at the first one. So Modit, if you can go on the next slide. So the first example that I'd like to walk you through uh, is on how can the maps help you improve your customer experience. So just bear with me. I think there's a little bit of a lag while we are trying to move slides. My apologies. I think I'm seeing a screen which is frozen. So just give us a second. We'll just refresh.
Can you see the screen now?
No, we can hear you, Mudit, but we cannot see the screen. At least I
Okay, let me
cannot.
just reshare. Yeah,
Yeah,
just give
please.
me one moment.
Yeah. Sorry for the tech glitch, everyone. Just bear with us for a second. Yeah, I see the screen now. I hope everyone else can also see. So as I was referring to three broad things, the first one being how can we help you improve your customer experience. So Mudit, if you can go on the next slide. So the first and the fundamental problem that most of the companies in logistics and delivery space would face is, how do I give better visibility to my customer? How can I track where my fleet operator is running my vehicle. And these are some very relevant use cases. Some of them fall under what we call as an asset tracking use case in Google Maps API parlance, and that's where Google Maps comes in very handy. It gives you more transparency across your supply chain. It helps your users to plan on when can they better receive their deliveries, and it overall improves customer experience. A few more use cases on customer experience. Mudit, next slide, please. So yeah, I'll sort of slightly busy slide, so I'll just spend a moment on this, and you can read this slide from left to right. There's a very interesting feature as part of the Places API called autocomplete. I'm sure all of us, while placing orders, would have experienced while filling out our details how cumbersome sometimes it becomes, right? And especially in a place like India where addresses are not necessarily consistent and rather long. There's a feature called autocomplete. If you start typing it, it gives you a drop-down options to choose from. Something very similar happens when you're trying to book a Uber or a Ola. That's nothing but an autocomplete API in action. A few more use cases. You want somebody to locate the nearest dealer. You want somebody to locate your nearest store. Something which is known as a store or a product locator comes in very handy. And they're very interesting use cases. There are companies who actually built out an entire e-commerce on their locator itself. So you could have pretty much go click, find out store, inventory, go and place an order. The last bit on the slide mentions how some companies have actually smartly used the consumer's location to target their marketing as well. Of course, there's a condition that the user has to give an explicit consent to share their location, and of course has to be logged into their app. But yeah, these three are very interesting use cases which have we have seen have led to an amazing customer experience across industries, especially relevant for logistics and delivery. Next slide, please. The next one that I'd like to speak about is how Maps has helped or can help in optimizing your operations pretty much real time. Next slide, please. So there are sort of what we see when we speak with and work with logistic and delivery companies is there are three fundamental problems that all companies deal with. Either they are trying to solve for the last mile delivery, where they're trying to become more efficient, they're trying to reduce cost, and hence finding the right route is very important. Or there is a challenge where they're running a fleet and they want to make sure that the teams are aligned, they're able to track where is the path taken by the fleet operator the right path. Are the sales expenses being claimed the right ones that they should have been claimed? Is there a variation from the or deviation from the natural path? All that can be possibly solved through Maps. Last but not the least, how do you make sure that you can not just anticipate the demand, which can fluctuate, and henceforth the delays? So there is a very strong case for managing your capacity, which also can be managed through Google Maps. So that's sort of the bit on how Maps can help you become more efficient, run more efficient operations, eventually leading to time saved and cost saved. The last one, which I'd like to touch upon, is the bit on how Google Maps is also helping companies make strategic decisions, irrespective of the team that you sort of come from. So, Madhut, next slide, please. So, some of the questions that we see the companies are answering and using Maps to answer those is everybody wants to know who's buying my product, where are they located, which localities within a city, which city within a country. How do I plan my next location? Where do I open my next store? Where do I open my next office? Right? How do I optimize my marketing mix? Where should I spend my next marketing dollars? How do I plan my logistics and route so that I can optimize for time? I can optimize for money. Maybe I can optimize for the business logic that I may have. So you may want to optimize for the account receivables that you may have, so on and so forth. All of these are fundamental business strategic decisions that you must be grappling with in some form or the other, and Google Maps can sort of help you answer those. So I'm just trying to be slow in my conversation so that you're able to also digest and absorb. And I'll sort of now conclude by just referring to a few case examples of few Indian or global companies who have leveraged Google Maps for their use cases. And I'm sure some of the names would be familiar. So next slide, please. Why don't we first speak of a very interesting case study, which actually is almost a source of inspiration for many of us, a company called Gojek. I'm sure many of us would be familiar with this name. I would almost call it like a new transportation customer experience, which nobody could imagine 3 or 4 years back, right? Especially relevant for areas which are traffic heavy. Started with Indonesia, they're expanding to different places. They are one of our biggest customers on Google Maps, plus they are also on Google Cloud platform. And um, they actually have more than 1 million drivers. So imagine the number of API calls which would be happening every second, every day. The count actually goes to 100 million API calls per second. As a consequence of which, imagine the amount of data which is being generated. So it goes up to 4 to 5 terabytes of data per day. And you would need a sort of a cloud computing platform to help you. And that's where sort of BigQuery comes in very handy. And that's where uh, sort of uh, their arrangement with us on Google Cloud platform is helpful. So they use both Google Maps platform and Google Cloud platform. The next example that I'd like to talk about, with the next slide, please, is Closer Home Big Basket. I think a name most of us are very familiar with. I personally use it for my goods delivery at home as well. I think the company started some 7, 8 years back, and there were many situations where they had to make sure the delivery happens within the 1 hour slot. Otherwise, they would be refunding 10% of the orders, and hence becomes so important for them to make sure the inventory is uh, stocked and tagged by location. The routes are optimized. The dispatchers are using the right directions API. It is being matched with the drivers, with the orders and customers, so that the time of arrival is in line with whatever was the commitment. An amazing case study which I personally love, and I'm happy to share that Big Basket actually handles more than 1 million orders per month and delivers in, I think, more than 2 dozen cities in India. And wouldn't have been possible without Google Maps platform. I think the last one or two more examples I'd just sort of leave you with is a company called DPD. It's a logistics and delivery. It's a German logistics and delivery firm. They focus on parcels weighing less than 30 kgs. And to begin with, they try to develop a software to plot the package drop-off locations on the website itself. But they realized that the cost and usability of the tool wasn't great. And they wanted to improve the overall parcel delivery experience. They wanted the recipients with various delivery options. They wanted to give more transparency and flexibility in the process, and hence considered the Google Maps API. And we hear from the client that their arrival estimates are very accurate within 30 minutes as required. And as we speak, I think the company delivers more than 3.5 million parcels every day. And imagine the number of users and experts would be using these apps, and number of hits on their website, I think, has crossed 300,000 views per day. So once again, won't have been possible without Google Maps platform. The last one is Lyft. Once again, sort of a ride sharing cab organization. Some of us may be familiar with. And I think 2 million ride shares, 100,000 drivers operate globally across more than 200 cities. Once again, a very active user of Google Maps platform, and have been using most of the APIs that we've discussed. So I'll take a pause here as promised. So we're taking a pause at 3:30. And Mudit, if you see any questions which the audience may have raised, maybe we can try and address them right now, or keep them for later if some of
Sure.
them we plan to cover.
Sure. Let me just quickly check if we have any questions. Okay, so the first question that has come in is, can I start Google Maps APIs on my own, or is a partner required at all times?
Sure. So let me. So how many questions do we have, Mudit, so that we can plan the
We have
time?
a couple of them. We have a couple of them. That's all.
Okay. So let's spend 5 minutes or so in addressing the question. So um, Google's overall philosophy, not just maps, is about being very transparent. So you can actually um, go on our website and look at the options that exist. Depending on what use case are you talking about, yes, it is possible for you to go and sign up. You may be expected to share your credit card details, but if the use case is more sort of development oriented and we're talking of a small startup organization, yes, there is a small free credit which may be available. But there are a lot of advantages for you to go through a partner, apart from a lot of technical capability which our partners bring on the table, and Sears will talk through them. There are a lot of volume discounts, very attractive discounts which come in as you use maps more. So yeah, so short answer to your question, yes, you can go sign up on your own, start using. There are limits to which you can use it, but I would strongly encourage you to engage with our partners, Sears being the partner in this case. Mudit, next question.
Yeah. The second question is, uh, can I start Google Maps APIs? What is asset tracking application? And I want to understand if it is available anymore. Okay, so this question is related to the asset tracking use case mainly.
Sure. So maybe this is an opportunity for me to just take a step back and very quickly speak of the licensing models as they exist in India and outside right now. So the reason why I'm doing this is because globally, our Google Maps platform licensing models are in a state of transition. Short answer to your question is yes, asset tracking model is available. What is an asset tracking model? It is meant for companies in the logistics and delivery and fleet management space who would want to track their fleet, who would want to track the vehicles, track their cabs, track their drivers, and would possibly consume multiple APIs in a day running in hundreds of thousands, and would otherwise run into a hefty bill. And it's difficult for them to forecast and keep a tab of what APIs would they consume. And hence, Google came up with a model which is known as an asset tracking model, in which case you commit to a certain number of assets and you enjoy unlimited APIs. This model is relevant for all companies who commit to more than 20,000 assets and in return enjoy all APIs unlimited. The only exception is Places API is not part of this because we realize the use case for typical logistics companies may or may not have Places API as part of it. So that's sort of the answer to the question.
Yeah,
Next.
well, thank you so much. I think that's all we have for now. Keep taking questions. So if you guys have any more questions, you can just use the URL which you can see on the top of the slides. Really sorry that a couple of times the slide were having some kind of a lag while loading. You could see the Sears logo again and again. There have been a couple of comments regarding that, but yeah, we have taken care of the situation now, and it should be pretty smooth from now on. So Gaurav, we can just yeah, continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we are on time. Over to my amazing partner company Sears, and over to you guys. Why don't you walk the audience through what you guys do and show them some of the cool stuff that you've done. I'll go on mute.
Right. Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thanks. Your session was really informative, especially the new slides that I saw. I think it would help the logistics companies quite a lot to, take their thoughts and categorize into those three categories that we talked about. So, yeah. So just to quickly introduce Sears to you guys, we are a business transformation partner for our clients. We leverage cloud automation and analytics to help futurify companies. And we have been a Google partner for over 10 years now, recognized as the APAC Partner of the Year for consecutively for the last 3 years. We have deep delivery capabilities across the Google ecosystem and have built deep competencies in areas of consulting and advisory services, also change management and product engineering. So overall, you can say that we really believe in what Google does as a cloud company, and we try to enable your organization to use Google's tool in a more efficient way. And if you don't have the tech capabilities, we can also help you to build them or build those tech requirements for you. So that's the entire idea. And we are just not a consulting company as such. So we actually help you to go to the cloud, and we help you realize the whole aim of taking the entire business into a digital heavy y- case, right? So that's the idea about what we do as a company. Speaking about where we operate and serve, so we have 10 locations globally, 6 in India. That includes our delivery center in Pune, Rajkot, and Bangalore. We are also present in North America, both on East and West Coast, and now in Singapore as well, with a view to expand in the region, especially Southeast Asia. I personally take care of the Indian business for Google Maps APIs. And to give you an idea of how many of us are working in this space, there are about 600 of us, with 80% of the folks directly serving our customers. So, customer facing would be about 80% of the total workforce that we have. And we've been operating for 14 plus years with Google partnership of 10 years, right? So for 14 years, we've been handling the logistics side, and that's why Google prefers us in any kind of logistics use cases whenever our customers face any, right? Maps has been a very new business for us. We have been a Google Map partner for the last couple of years. We became the quickest to premier, right? So premier partner is a status that Google gives to its coveted partners. And we also have the location based services specialization, right? Which really proves our strength in developing a lot of resources around geo location and any kind of geo services. So any kind of geographic information systems or GIS, we have deep capabilities of building those out as well, right? And our vision is to be the most trusted partner to help futurify businesses, and that's what we do with our Maps ecosystem as well. So if you see that we deal in all the Google Cloud products like Google Cloud Platform, G Suite, Maps and machine learning APIs, and finally Chrome and Android. So we believe in the one Google approach that even Google is moving to right now. Speaking about the list of the clients that we have a lot of clients in media and entertainment, like big names like Reliance Entertainment. In Shorts, it's a beautiful app if you've tried to use it. There are enterprise clients as well. So we have LTI, Titan, Ashok Leyland, KPIT, Royal Enfield, and so on. We have fintech and BFSI. So we have JustPay, ZepPay, Walnut, ICICI, etc. New age digital disruptors like Just Dial, Grofers. Especially in the Maps business, we have a lot of clients like Bounce or Wicked Ride from Bangalore. We have Fasos or Rebel Foods, which you might have heard of. Then we have Redbus, Goa Ibibo, etc. So we take care of a lot of transportation companies and logistics companies for all of their Maps requirements. And finally, we have gaming and educational companies as well. So this is a list of our customers in a mix of a Google Cloud plus Google Maps environment. And as I mentioned, we are location-based services specialized partners. So we have demonstrated technical expertise in this. We have proven customer delight. You can refer to one of our websites to help you with which customers we've helped in the past. Very recently, we also published a few case studies on Google Cloud blog itself. And repeatable success is another thing that they look for while giving any partner the location-based services specialization. Primarily today, what I will cover is two things. So number one is how Google Maps platform is coming together with Google Cloud Platform to give actionable insights to our users and also make beautiful applications for their customers, right? So that is the first thing that I wanted to discuss. And second, as Gaurav handed me, I would also like to show you some screenshots of a couple of tools that we have built out on top of Google Maps APIs to help us to help our company, our clients with a ready-made product. If they do not want to use the APIs for their application, they can just use our products in their organization and manage their logistics more efficiently, right? So in the first part, we have Google Maps moving to a very pay as you go and easy to use model, right? Uh, so there will be just one console for all GCP and GMP projects. You will have individual API billing, and you can pay as you go in a monthly model, right? So very soon Google is going to come up with this for India as well. It has been started everywhere else across the globe, but in India this is to start very soon, right? And we will help you to understand what this is all about and make sure that it fits your budget and also it gives you the ROI that you want. The new platform fully integrated with GCP would mean maps plus cloud plus machine learning to give you location intelligence, as I talked about, right? Speaking about the demos that we have, I would primarily want to show you a logistics or a delivery kind of a dashboard that we had built out. Uh, So it's an IoT-based logistics monitoring and coordination platform for large consigners and transporters, right? So what it does very well is it integrates well with your ERP, with MIS and SAP, right? So you might have a lot of trucks and you might have a lot of people wanting to understand different things about those trucks. Our dashboard will help uh, all of them to understand what they want to understand, right? So it starts with a simple integration of SAP ERP data to trigger trips and consignment visibility, right? So you can see in this case on the screenshot, it is giving trip info for a particular truck, right? And there are some custom fields, right? It also includes things like transportation code, transporter name, shipment number, consignee. It can be anything which you have defined and it's coming directly from your ERP or SAP integration, right? You can easily track consignments at every stage of delivery using this. Next is you can see real time where your assets are on the field and also understand a lot of other things like whether the truck is on or off right now. You can get detailed stoppage report, you can get overspeeding reports, etc. You can also navigate your trucks in a more optimum way, so that what happens is overall you get a more optimum result for your entire fleet operations, right? So for example, like Gaurav mentioned, what happens is you might know the start point and the end point, but there might be multiple delivery points in between, right? And in a last mile delivery kind of a use case, what happens is it's very difficult to understand what is the optimum path, right? So uh, so the maps APIs really helped us where we wanted to optimize the routes, and we have integrated that in this so that your operations are more optimum, so you can save a lot of cost on the bottom line basically. With this you can capture work orders, you can monitor work orders, dispatch orders and consignment statuses as well. You can update or cancel and allow customers to make update to order requests as well. Next, you can see different clusters of locations or trucks that you might have. So you can have warehouse plant managers get ground traffic control for incoming and outgoing logistics. You can mark detention zones. You can track sectional dwell time, parking lot. You can see where are the loading bays and where are the weigh bridges, etc. So we have made it completely keeping logistics space in our mind, right? Then this is about the retail outlet managers get an app to coordinate delivery and pickup times. So You also have a mobile interface for this, in which the retail outlet manager themselves get an app, so that they can be intimated on time about anything they want to understand, like incoming assets and consignments to that specific outlet. They can plan arrival times better with more accurate ETAs. And finally, easy access to goods details and invoices, both real time and historic, right? So you can see real time data as well and historic data as well. So, like Gaurav mentioned in the last use case, it's very important to visualize all of your business matrices, right? And that is what this dashboard does as well. So logistics managers at the headquarter get dashboards that surface real-time information across regions, right? So you get beautiful charts and graphs that tell the entire story up to the current moment, right? You can click to dig deeper into regions, categories, and more. So when you zoom in, you will understand more things about a district. Right now, you can see the state-wise division of the number of sales and the number of deliveries, how efficient they were, and things like that. Moving on, you can monitor overcompensation analysis, detention analysis, and supplier ratings as well. So I know this is deep technical logistic stuff for some of you guys who are here for the last mile delivery piece. But this is just to show you that those simple 13 APIs can help you to integrate various sources of information and visualize it in the best possible way to help any stakeholder bring out the feature that they want, right? So I'll skip through last couple of slides that we have, and just take you to this architectural diagram that I wanted to quickly show. So you have cloud-based flexible infrastructure, right? What this means is with Google Maps APIs, with your application or web app on top, and the final users being internal users or consumer site. They might be on a web or an Android or iOS device. So basically, the consumer application can also be consumed through the mobile device. And on the back end, you have uh, saving of this data, right? And also cloud SQL servers to help you to organize this data more clearly and visualize this data whenever you need to visualize it, right? So there are several of these architectural diagram possibles. We will dig deeper into this once we interact with you for more use cases. But quickly to cover a couple of more client deployments that we have. Uh, this is a trusted health and beauty brand in Singapore. Their challenge was to improve customers' experience using click and collect service on their website, right? So they are basically trying to do e-commerce on top of maps by suggesting people where is the nearest store, and people could actually just pay online and collect whatever they need when they are moving across that region, right? So the solution was with Google Maps platform, dynamic maps APIs and directions API. They could help users locate the stores in a much more efficient way and also give them directions to that store. So the benefit was obviously that the online users experience was greatly improved, right? Then you have a fast growing vehicle data collecting system on the blockchain. So their challenge was to track and monitor cabs in real time and managing fleet efficiency. The solution which we provided them was, again, Google Maps platform with geocoding, directions, and dynamic maps. So geocoding really helps you to actually uh, convert addresses to lat longs, right? And the directions help you to understand dwell times on the basis of the machine learning algorithms that Google has, right? So this helps you convert it into real-time ETS, more accurate ETS, and also help you calculate the fares in a much more accurate way, right? And obviously, the benefits was that it was easy to use, more effective, interactive, and engaging, right? We also have a few food delivery service providers with us. So their challenge was to streamline food delivery services across 15 cities through real-time tracking. And the solution was, of course, Google Maps APIs again. They have improved operational visibility. Here, the primary use case is also about matching your order to the nearest cloud kitchen or to the nearest restaurant that they have, right? So we understand the user's location first. Where is the parcel to be delivered? Which restaurant will deliver it? What will be the cost of this delivery? And what will be the ETA, right? All of these important information is done using Google Maps. And finally, when you're really hungry, you want to know where your delivery guy is, right? So that feature is again on top of a beautiful Google map. So you could have any kind of visualization on top of those maps. And this is a very unique hyperlocal on-demand concierge service. This is my favorite customer, so to speak. Their challenge was to optimize service vendor allocation, reduce delays, and improve customer engagement. So the idea is the delivery person would get you anything from anywhere at any cost and deliver it, and the only cost that you have to bear is what they bought plus a little fees for the delivery, right? So it saves, the idea is to save time, right? And their solution was gotten into action by, again, Google Maps platform. The dynamic maps help them to visualize where the pickup and delivery addresses are. We could help them with dynamic maps to show those information. Directions advanced help them to understand the current traffic conditions and navigate their way through in a faster way. And finally, distance matrix API help them to realize where were the stores and what time it would take, what cost would be borne by the customer to get those things delivered, etc. And yeah, to answer the question that we had already answered in between, how can Searce support my Google journey? So the partner's role is to accelerate your success, right? You have more choices and less possibilities with partners because we provide our solutions as well. Like I showed you the logistics use case, we have a few more use cases which are made keeping in mind those customers who do not really have a technical expertise in the Google Maps API space, and we could provide them the missing blocks to solve their whole puzzle, right? And we have proven technical mastery in these APIs and building out dashboards like this, and we will be there to support you end to end. So the idea is to give you consulting where you need it, licensing for all Google Maps services, helping you with deployment of those services, and finally services on top of the Google Maps APIs that are available. So building out dashboards and giving you end-to-end support.
And not to forget attractive pricing, which comes in only if you go through a partner, compared to buying it online.
Right, absolutely. So if you buy it online, there are just a couple of tiers of discount that are available on your credit card, but through a partner on an offline billing kind of a scenario, you have more discount tiers. So summary and next steps would be you can test Google Maps APIs with your key use cases. You could discuss Google Maps APIs requirements with us. You could reach out to us on our YouTube channel or also on our LinkedIn and other sources, and we can get you started with Google Maps APIs into your project. Gaurav, would you like to add something?
I think this was a good session, Mudit. Very useful. I think it clearly gives a picture of what you guys are capable of and what you've done in the past. If I may recommend, let's use the last 5 minutes or 6 minutes that we have to take up if there are any other questions which have come up.
Right. Let me just check if we have more questions.
Yeah. I'm sure if people want, they can put in the questions right now as well. We have time.
Yeah. Okay, so I see a question, Gaurav. It says dynamic maps versus static maps for my food delivery site. What is better?
Okay. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Uh, just to quickly tell you the difference, dynamic maps is something where you have a basic map layer on top of which you have different kind of visualizations, and the only difference is that user is able to pan and zoom and also look for places that they are interested in, right? as compared to static maps. In static maps, what happens is it is just like a photograph, but a digital photograph, obviously. So you see it on a website and it's just embedded there, right? So static map would not, you would not be able to pan and zoom into other locations. So in a food delivery use case, you have a moving person on ground who is getting the food, right? If you just had to visualize which restaurants are nearby, a static maps might have been enough, but it would still restrict the user to a particular window, right? In a moving use case, you obviously have to use a dynamic map. But if you also want your users to pan and zoom and explore more restaurants other than where they are, obviously I would suggest dynamic maps would be better. But we will need to understand what is the use case, what is the ROI, and what are the costs for these two APIs to be able to help you in a better way.
Yeah, that's a fair answer, Mudit. Do
Right.
we have any other question?
The question, just let me check. Okay, yeah. So I have a doubt on accuracy of autocomplete to fetch exact home address.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can get a clarification on the question, because when the I think the person who's asking the question, I'm not sure if this is in context of a specific state or a city or a country. But let me attempt to answer this question. That, I mean, Google Maps data is one of the richest and most accurate. The level of accuracy may vary by state, city, but it also involves an angle of cleaning up process which a lot of companies employ, uh, converting the lat longs to addresses, because addresses by themselves are not standard. So from that perspective, there could be some variation, but would love to understand this a little more on where you're coming from. Mudit, if you'd like to add.
Sure, Gaurav. I think that's about it. It's the question is about what you are comparing this accuracy with.
Yeah.
Because I really believe that this question is very relative. So what happens is, if you have a data set in your mind, and if you want us to get a data set from Google Maps APIs and compare it, chances are we would win 99% of the times, right? So let us do that exercise and then figure out how much the accuracy is. Because you said correctly, we would need a lot more additional clarity about what this accuracy that we are talking about is, right? So it depends quite a lot on the different areas. Like Google Maps has significantly better data for towns as compared to villages, right? But do you have a data set in mind that you're comparing it with? So yeah, I think accuracy wise, Google Maps is one of the best data sets you can get your hands on. So yeah, I think that's the answer.
Fair enough. So we do have last 1 minute. Let's see if there is any other question which comes up. Otherwise, personally, thank you so much for this opportunity to interact with all of you. Thank you so much for taking time out and for asking all the questions. Hope you found the session useful, and do reach out to us. Between Mudit and myself, both of us are available. Um, Mudit, have we maybe we can already share our email IDs. You must have been in contact with the audience, and
Yeah,
they can reach out if required.
sure. Yeah, we have their email IDs and we have written to them a couple of times. So I believe they already have our contact details. But yeah, we will formally share it over a mail as well.
Yeah, do that. So my name once again is Gaurav Bansal, and my email ID is very straightforward. It is GAURAVBANSAL, my full name @google.com. And I think Mudit would have already shared his ID. So feel free to write to either of us, and we'll happy to engage further with you on this.
All right, Gaurav. Thank you so much for your time as well. Thanks, guys, for attending. If there are any questions, we are always available. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.